2. What up, though? Welcome to a new episode of Don't Blame Me, Blame Detroit with your boy, Brandon Jordan. You know, your favorite comedian out here in these streets. And like I told y'all, man, I'm back at it consistently, bringing you another episode. And we're just about to jump right into it because I got 2 guests today that I'm really glad to have. Seeing his play that he's out here in the streets. This is actually my second time seeing it. I seen it in his Raw stage when he first put it out, and I got a chance to see it, you know, even more polished. And it's one of the dopest plays I've seen in a while. It has a lot of gems and a lot of things that make you want to talk about after, and that's why we're about to get into some stuff today. Yes. This guy right here, man, is very talented. So welcome to the podcast, Ladarrion.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I know you say you're from Alabama, but what city?
So I say Birmingham because that's what everybody knows, but I'm actually from like a small town outside of Birmingham called Helena. It's weird. It's like 3 cities in one, so it's like Helena, Alabaster, and Pelham. But I grew up mostly like around Helena and Alabaster area, like 20-30 minutes away from Birmingham.
So is it one of those cities? Because I got, you know, cousins and stuff from there that came from like small towns in Alabama. But is it one of them like small towns where like if you go hit the wrong corner, you might end up in slavery again?
No.
Or like dirt roads.
There's some towns I'd be like, nah, I don't like going over there. I don't mess with that. No, our town is kind of like, I would say like kind of like Burbank. It's kind of like Burbank, and then you have like Van Nuys, and then Glendale. Like it's kind of like stuff like that, but like really have like that small town feel to it. So yeah, we got like, you know.
Like, did y'all grow up like not wearing shoes outside,
yes,
walking down the street and shit? No, listen. Shout out to my cousin Dorsey. You know, because I'm from Detroit, and so when he moved to Detroit, he used to literally walk up and down the street with no shoes on, and we used to look at him like, my dog, like, you know, you can die from that. Right?
I mean, it's not safe.
It's not.
We haven't died yet. Yeah. No, I remember those days, like, you know, walking literally barefoot on the pavement, walking down to like the basketball court, to like 2 people's houses. That was just the culture. Like, that's the life in the South. Yeah.
Man. Well, I ain't gonna forget about this other person, man. She killed the play. Yeah, she really did kill it. First, I want to say this. Everybody did a great job on the play. Shout out to everybody that was there that performed. Yes. Everybody, the cast was great. But this person, she stood out because look, even if because this is how you know when you did a great job, because this is why I love Lorenz Tate, is that I have been around Lorenz Tate and I know his personality. What he portrays on camera is totally different, but he does such a good job. He makes you believe that's who he is, and that's the credit that I'm giving you for what you did tonight, because really, I was like, damn, if I take this girl out, I don't know if I can take all that goddamn attitude.
Oh, no, not too
no. That's a lot of attitude to go along with that for a little $30 dinner, you know what I'm saying?
Or that 2 for 20.
That 2 for 20, you know.
But yeah, so I want to welcome to the podcast, Justeen Butler.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so where are you from?
I'm also from a really small town in California, but when I explain it to people, they don't know what it is. But it's called Hesperia, and if you've ever driven from LA to Vegas, you've driven right past it. It's like the San Bernardino, Apple Valley, Victorville area.
It's like one of them cities where they just throw an outlet store at.
Kinda, yeah. It's a couple gas stations and like a Denny's if you want to stop and get something to eat. Yeah, they've developed a couple things since then, but it's very small. Yeah.
That's interesting. I've never heard about. That's a cool name though for a town, like to Spirit.
It sounds cool, and then you get there and you're like, nah.
Is it predominantly black or is it mixed?
God, no. When I grew up there, it was mostly white people, and like the high school that I went to until my junior year, it was maybe like 20, 30 black people in the entire school.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So not it was pretty monochromatic in that area.
Okay. So what made you? So how long you been in the LA area?
I've been in LA since I was 16.
Okay.
Yeah. So my parents got divorced. I moved with my dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you know what I'm about to ask you.
What you about to ask me?
I'm about to ask you. So how old are you?
You gonna ask me
I
that on
gotta
a public forum?
Okay,
and
that's
expect
what I
me to
gotta-
Well, but black
You
don't
ain't
crack,
got-
so
That is
technically.
I'm playing. It's all good. I'm 30.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Go somewhere. You also okay? So you've been in LA for about 14 years.
Yeah, about
All
that.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So where did you go to high school when you moved here?
Westchester.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my choices was a Catholic school or Westchester.
Why not Crenshaw?
I wasn't given that choice. I mean,
No.
I feel like Crenshaw would have had a better theater department. No offense, Westchester, but
It was funny because growing up, I was like, we was watching like, okay, I know I'm about to lose part of my black card when I say this.
That's fair.
I really don't care. Last night I seen Poetic Justice for the first time.
Yeah, you hear a quiet back.
I see it. I seen it for the first time.
Okay.
And when I was watching it, I was like, dang. I said these movies like Poetic Justice, Friday, Don't Be a Minute, all that stuff. If the movies get better once you live here and know the LA.
Yeah,
that's how I know.
Yeah.
So that's how we was introduced. Well, that's how I was introduced to LA. Like,
so like growing up, when I used to watch Moesha. And how when she was in high school at Crenshaw with the blue and yellow and stuff, I said, I want to go to Crenshaw.
Yeah, and then like what was the hangout spot we used to go to?
Oh, the Den.
We never back home. We never had
nothing like that. We never had nothing like that. Yeah, at all. And so it was like, man, I want to go. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so my house. So anytime when I moved here, somebody went to high school, I'm like, you went to Crenshaw? They're like, no, I ain't going to no damn Crenshaw.
Like, the only high school in LA.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. And it's so funny because I only know like 4 high schools, you know what I'm saying, off the top of my head. So I just when I'm just trying to be funny with somebody, I just name one of them 4 high schools because it seemed like it's disappointing that you went there. Especially the one they hate when I was like, you went to Fairfax? No, I ain't going to no damn
Fairfax is up there.
Like, no, I ain't going to no damn Fairfax.
But I always thought high schools in LA was just like performing arts, like you sing and dance your way through like high school, but no.
Because I thought that too, and then when I got out here, I was like, I'm in LA, I'm in Westchester, here I come, theater all the way, and they were like, we don't do that here, and I said, huh? What y'all mean? What you talking about? Okay, so I should be going to Hamilton, but it was too late by then.
It wasn't like the Zoe 101 type of time.
Not at all.
No, okay.
I'm expected to live my Victoria Justice
life,
and it did not happen for me.
No, that's so funny. Wow.
Like what's y'all like? Ladarrion, how long have you been here?
So I've been here 7 years, May 9th.
Yeah.
I've been here 4 years. It was on it'd be 4 years on the 18th.
Oh my God.
Coming up, it'd be 4 years. And the first year and a half, I ain't gonna lie, I thought about moving about 36, 11 times.
Yeah, sounds about right.
My first year here, I was like, nah, I don't know if I can do this.
And it wasn't, it was more of, it wasn't what I expected.
Okay.
Like now, after living here a while, and so now I tell people when they come visit, and they're like, "Oh man, I want to move here."
Exactly.
I tell them, I said, it's a difference between visiting and living.
Yeah, because we not going to be going out every night.
Nope.
We not going to be spending money at like clubs and bars and. No, we're just not going to do that because it's too expensive.
Exactly.
We got to pay rent.
I mean, living here is expensive. Yeah, like the rent is a lot.
We can barely afford groceries.
Like, because I got a joke in my set that I talk about, about me moving here and my living situation and everything. Because it was crazy. I moved from Dallas. Moved from Dallas area to here. And so when I was in the Dallas area, it was kind of like the first time in my life that I was able to choose where I wanted to live versus where my money dictating where I had to live.
Exactly, yeah.
And so I was comfortable down there. You know, I had a beautiful place. I had a big, you know, I had a beautiful loft. You know what I'm saying? Big old windows and, you know, the big the marble countertops, all that stuff. You just a nice.
It's an apartment, like
you know what I'm saying?
Apartment.
It was
a real apartment.
Real. You know, it was like 1,100 square feet.
Oh,
yeah.
Beautiful. I paid like $950 a month.
Exactly.
And then coming here and moving into a studio apartment that was barely 300 square feet, with no heat. You know what I'm saying? They had just the little heat thing on the side and say, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
You know what I mean? And it was just, it was mentally, it was a struggle. And then, you know, it just took a minute.
Yeah, especially because they probably wanted like $1,600 for that little studio.
No, it was $1,200 when I moved in.
Okay.
And then they sold the building and the new owner came in and then wanted to move the rent to 13.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. My first apartment was in Hollywood on Sunset. I don't like where they built the Netflix building.
Yeah.
So when I moved here, I remember they was laying ground for it.
Okay.
And I wouldn't even call that a shoebox.
Dang.
Like I wouldn't even call it that. And I lived with another person in that room. It was. I never want to go back to that. And I was like, "This is what apartments actually look like." Oh no, I gotta go back home.
I can't do this.
Look, it was. I remember when I was looking for apartments. I went to this one building in Koreatown, and I went in there. The building was nice. They had a gym in there, everything. And I'm like, okay, this is nice. And I thought I was getting over it because they wanted like $950 a month. And I was like, oh, okay, I might hit a lick on this one.
That's a catch.
We get upstairs. She opened that door, and she was like, yeah, this is the space right here, this and this. And I said, is this just the hallway?
Yep. No,
It literally
the whole room.
It was literally a one little strip of space to where you supposed to put your stuff, and then they had the little extra small mini fridge and the hot plate, and that was it. And I was like, I can't even fit my bed in here. Like literally, I could not fit my bed.
Wow.
And I was like, is this real? And she was looking at me like I was the stupid one. And I'm like, this can't be how people live.
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, because this is the last one that we have available. I got like 15 other people that's trying to come see it.
Okay.
I was like,
the 14 other people.
Exactly.
I said, you let them come.
Right.
I can't
Bring
do
them
this. And then, but the other struggle I had with was, it's a lot of racism when it comes to these apartments too, though.
Yes, it is.
Like I used to drive around and see the open space, you know, got open apartments, this and this. I go up there, knock on the door to the apartment manager, like, hey, I'm here for an apartment. Oh, we don't have none. You got the sign outside. No, we don't have anything available. Like, but why you got the sign up? You know what I'm saying? But it's just nothing available. I'm like, okay. And then you got to pay all them application fees.
It's just the classism.
It is
like racism and classism.
Oh.
Because it's just like, well, the application fee, because this is what I was taught, like, from my sisters, like, you know, when you pay an application fee for an apartment, and if you don't get accepted or whatever, you can ask for your credit report. Because technically you paid for it.
Yeah.
So they have to, like, I think by law they have to give it to you. And I was just like, this is what it's like. Even if you have money, even if you have the money, they don't care. Like a lot of apartment complexes don't care.
They really don't.
Yeah. Which is weird. It's so weird to me out here.
Literally, the apartment that I had in Dallas I was talking about, literally it took me about an hour to get approved. We literally sat down there, filled the paperwork out, did the news. Okay, this is how much your deposit's gonna be. You can
They're like, don't even leave. We're gonna get this for you right now.
You can go ahead and move.
Out here, it's like 2 to 3 weeks. We may get back to you. You may never hear from us again.
They have like back home. They have like move-in special. If you move in like a certain day, they'll slash the like rent in half. Or something like that.
Or first month free. Here, You lucky we letting you move.
They do the first month free here, but what they do is go, okay, we're gonna give you the first month free, right? But we're just gonna apply it to every month of rent. So we're only taking like $35 off of the rent per month.
They'll put like little like.
Or they'll be like, you'll get this rate for the first 6 months, and then after that, it's gonna go up another $300. Like that's how they do you in Los Angeles. Read the fine print always.
In LA.
It'd be rough out here.
But Justin, what other acting stuff have you been involved in as of recent?
As of recent, this is probably the most recent thing. Like I was just working a straight job for a while, doing scene study classes, like auditioning but not getting anything. So this was the first thing that I was just like, I'm gonna audition for it. I haven't done a play in a while because a lot of what I've been auditioning for has been like film and television, which is harder when you don't have an agent, I've realized.
It is.
So that's also that. But I was like, all right, play. I haven't done theater work in a while. Like, might as well just go out for it, see what happens. And I got casted. I was like, well, there it is, right there.
Come on.
So
yeah, because I tell you, I've been doing stand up for 15 years now.
Okay.
15 years, and I didn't live in different places. I didn't live in Atlanta. I didn't been to New York before. I didn't been, Chicago. I've been, performing all over, for a long time, and just being in LA for as much as I've been in, and just seeing more and more how the entertainment business work. People, from the outside that's not in the business think like a lot of times this stuff is just overnight success, or it's just you just gotta just go to LA and it's just gonna happen. Like a lot of this thing, and then or be the most talented. That don't mean nothing. You can be the most skilled actor, but if you're not the most how can I put it, coolest person to be around, or not sociable enough, then they'll knock you for that and not want to work with you. It's a lot of different things that does not deal with talent that helps get people put on.
Yeah, like social media was a big one for me when I really started going, okay, I really want to focus on like building a career. I was working with this lady for a while, and she was like, yeah, you have to like up your social media presence. You got to like post every day. And I was like, girl, I am not that type of person. I don't have the energy to do that. And on top of that, I still work a real job. Like I don't.
And trying to make it out.
Exactly. And I got auditions. So at what point am I going to have time to sit down, think about, okay, what should I post? What are people going to want to see? And then do that consistently. But that was a big thing that a lot of people have told me. Like your social media presence is really important. And I'm like, okay. And I've really seen the benefits of it, but I've also seen people dive so full-hearted into that they are now slacking on like the auditions and all the other
because
work
they're full-time focusing on that.
Exactly.
And it's hard like people don't understand, and this is what I don't like about the business, is that when you're trying to make a name for yourself, they ask so much of you but don't want to give anything in return.
Exactly.
So like for me, they would ask me, hey, come do this show. Then when I turn around and say, where the money at? Oh, well, this is for exposure. That's what we're paying you for, exposure. This and this. And it's like, well, I gotta eat. You know what I'm saying?
Exposure not paying my rent.
If you got the money, like, pay people. I understand that. It's just like, if I see somebody trying, like, they grassroots and they trying to like build something, like, yo, I can't pay you right now, but at least give people their footage. That's my big thing. Like, give actors their footage, because like they came and like or feed them, like they come over and like they doing the work, and because I understand like we all gotta pay our rent and we gotta pay bills, our phone bill, everything. You know what I'm saying? But it be the corporations that be having the money. No, they don't want to pay people.
But like you said, give people their footage. I've done like several small projects that like I did it. They were like, we're gonna give you your footage. I never heard from them people again.
That's messed up.
And I'm like, all I wanted was my footage. Like I knew you weren't gonna pay me. Like I wasn't expecting money.
My thing is, and then what is so hard about it?
What is that? Why is that so difficult?
Literally, when I did like film projects, like I'll ask my editor to like, okay, how can I send these to actors? Like I'll do like a Vimeo link, like a private link. And give them the password. It's like, only send this to agents and managers or whoever actors. Send it to. It's not that hard. Not that hard.
Like, for example, like I remember my first big show I did a long time ago back in Detroit, and I never forget, it was the first show my mother ever came to see me perform and everything, and I killed that show. Like literally, I killed that show. And the people that was over was like, yeah, we're gonna send the footage, and we're gonna send y'all your footage. To this day, I've never seen that footage, and you know, and after a while, I was like, oh, whatever. But it was like, I really wanted that. You know what I'm saying? I really wanted that. But
and as an actor, it's like you let it go, but then when people are like, oh, do you have a reel? It's like, damn, like I could, but you know, the 4 projects I did, I don't know where those people are anymore. You know,
that's
so.
it. I hate that. Like, I don't know, that just burns my soul. I hate that. I really do. Like, just do right by people.
Yeah.
That's my like. If I see you coming, you know, working with me, and I can't pay you right now, like, the least I can do is like just give you your footage. That's the least I can do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But watching your play, and I told you this before we had started, it was one part of the play that really, you know what I'm saying, that strung up a conversation after. And that was the scene, I can't remember the character's name, you know what I'm saying, so don't kill me on that part. Don't kill me on that part. But it was the part where the 2 friends were having the conversation. It was a little heated, but the conversation about the homosexuality.
Hakeem and Norris, yeah.
And like I was telling you, I said it was a point in there that made me think about, you know what I'm saying, about the situation. And I said, I guess I hope, correct me if I'm wrong when I'm saying this, because I'm trying to remember exactly how the conversation went. But it was basically trying to respect. He just wanted to be respected as a black man and a gay man in the same frame as he wanted to be respected as just being a black man. And so I think for me, where the separation comes from when it comes to heterosexual black men and homosexual black men is where heterosexual black men 100% feels like it's a choice for you to be homosexual versus you feeling like it's not a choice. I was born like this. You know what I'm saying? And so for a heterosexual, it's like I can't connect the two because you're trying to fight for these rights. I'm just trying to fight for human rights. So we don't see it as the same because we're like, you're choosing to do that. You're choosing to do that. You don't have to do that. So you're fighting a fight that you're choosing to have versus seeing it as, well, no, this is how I'm born. So the fight is the same. Did I get it right?
Like that's the conversation and really breaking it down. Because I had to step away from the play a lot too, because the first iteration when you saw it, like they had the conversation, but
it wasn't as deep as it was the second time.
Yeah, the second time, because I had to step away from my own biasness and to be like, okay, I don't want to lean towards Hakeem because then that's going to make me seem a certain way. I don't want to lean towards Dolores because then what's that saying about people who think like Hakeem? I really had to step away and I really had to be called, you know, like I had to take accountability. Like, okay, how can I, as a writer, write this in a way that you don't know who to choose? Like, how can I do it? So it took a lot of humbling. Like, I was humbled a lot. But it just seemed like all these different conversations, especially with the whole DaBaby situation. And then, I think the DaBaby situation and then Dave Chappelle, like, those happened, like, around the same time. And I was just watching, like, different TikToks, and I was talking to different friends who are gay and some who are, you know, they're straight, and just getting their opinions on both sides. And I'm like, well, how can I translate this to stage? And so it was really hard. It was really, really hard just to also write it, but also hear it, because it's just like we all have those conversations, and they do get kind of heated.
Yeah, like
it gets really, really heated. But how can we both get our points across? From Hakeem's standpoint, he's not homophobic or transphobic.
No, I didn't get that at all.
He's just he's so vocal about his issue. He don't really know how to pinpoint a lot of things. It's like what Hakeem was coming from, like, no, like, you know, y'all fighting for these changes and y'all fighting for these rights, but then y'all be having racism in your own community that y'all don't like to address, like in the gay community. Why is it like, you know, why don't we never talk about the black queer people that fought for rights for everybody? We'll never talk about that, but you attribute yourself to this LGBTQIA plus culture that you always tell me as a friend that like, oh, this is racist. Like, as a black queer person, from Denora's standpoint, like, I don't have a space in that community or this community. So Hakeem is just like, well, then I gotta call that shit out. Let me call it out. I'm not talking about gay people like, oh, y'all don't deserve rights. I'm just talking about the systematic racism that goes on in our community, but also in y'all community. If you're gonna call out us, we gotta be able to call y'all out.
Because it's hypocritical.
Yeah,
they don't.
And then Denoris is coming from a point where, like, you know, I don't have a safe space nowhere. And I'm trying to get you to understand that. And so, yeah, just talking with different people and like just their thoughts on like just the baby and Dave Chappelle and the whole, you know, Netflix thing, and you seen white gay people trash talking about black people, and it's like, well, where's that coming from? Because let's be honest, like, where's that coming from? Because it's like, I understand that you're gay, and I understand everybody has like their own issues, and I get that, but it's like, you're still white at the end of the day. You still benefit from a privilege. And that's where Hakeem and Denoris both, they agree on it. It's just, they can't see each other's point because it gets too personal for them.
Right, because I just felt like it was more like you said, personal. So it's kind of like, I want you to 100% understand what I'm saying. I want you to understand what I'm saying. Y'all kind of saying the same thing, but just the words are not crossing with each other.
Yeah, because I think Hakeem makes a general statement about, like, you know, y'all, I don't know if we can cuss on here. Okay. I was like, y'all niggas are nothing but blind sheep. Because he is. It's like, because it's been a chasm between black people, heterosexual and homosexual black people since slavery. Because we always talk about the problems now, but we don't really talk about like the root of the problem. And that comes from white supremacy and slavery, and seeing that in generation and generation. Because, you know, with black people, with gay, like, I don't think black people think homosexuality is bad, like, because they come from a Christian standpoint, but back in slavery, we don't talk about like the butt breaking.
I was just about to say
the butt breaking thing, and that's what they're attributing homosexual activity with that,
to the loss of masculinity.
To the loss of masculinity. And when you have that trickle down from literally from generation to generation to generation, how do we break that cycle? And then you add in God and church and the Southern, you know, heritage with that, and just society standards of what a man is in general. It's a lot. It's a lot to
which we're gonna get into. Because I said this too. I said about what you just said about just being a man in society in general. I also would say that women play a huge part in that.
Oh, absolutely.
Play a huge part.
That's why Taronda, I love like how Taronda like just says like, you know, but our sisters we gotta take accountability for some shit too. But that's all we don't want to. But that's all we say about that. Because that's real.
It is.
Because a lot of times women, and I see this in, you know, in everyday life. Women have an idea. And it's about how you raised up, how you seen things, and how you also, as growing up, you're starting to think. You have your ideas of what a man should be in your head. This is what a man is, and this is what I want in a man. So if anything a man does almost outside of that, and I'm not saying you just in general.
I'm gonna correct you in a bit. So
not in general, but a lot of times, a women, anything that's outside of that, what societal. It is, that thing that they have in their head, they automatically assume they be like, he might be gay.
But see, you have to look at it from this standpoint too, because I will say that there is that as a female, I will say there are certain things that men do, and you're like, well, maybe he's not straight, and then now they'll explain that. But like you referred to, it goes back to kind of how we were taught and how we were raised, and who were the men in our lives. Because like when I look at my dad, for example, my dad is like the definition of a provider in the sense that he was gonna go to work. Like if he did nothing else, that man was gonna work. He doing all the overtime. So we had food in the house, roof over our head, clothes on our back. Now, spending time caregiver, that's not his thing, but that's not how he grew up. So I had to reevaluate what I thought a man was, because I knew that wasn't all a man was, but that's all I knew. So you get into the world and you see all of these different variations of men, and you're like, oh, that's not the example that I had going into this world. And so what do I consider you? Because I know technically you're not gay just because you're talkative more, whatever, but there's now a category of men that I don't know what to do with, because I don't know what that category is. Like, and that's reality. Like we as women have to like get rid of all of the preconceived notions we were taught. And then of course all like the romantic bullshit that they put on TV that they force feed down females' throats. Like once you get past like, oh, all that's fake, now you get to see, oh, men are just individuals, and each individual is different. But it takes a while to get there. You're
exactly right. But so just it'd be little stuff though. Also, it could be like, for example, I love ice cream. So one of my favorite toppings on ice cream is sprinkles. I love sprinkles.
Sprinkles are delicious.
I love sprinkles. I remember I had a girl tell me, "You like sprinkles?"
That's gay.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? She automatically, she was like,
Jesus.
She thought she really kind of thought.
But what about sprinkles would trigger that thought of
I don't have that answer.
Because it's colorful?
That's deep.
But I don't have that answer.
This is what I always
But that's what a lot of guys go through.
I go through that every single day. Like,
you know what I'm saying? With just it could be anything. The way you might wear your jeans, you know what I'm saying? Or
which is something weird now.
Because I'm not even gonna lie. In high school, tight jeans, like it was like, it's very clear that you're gay because your jeans are very tight. And then straight dudes started wearing them. And like a dude that I like, I remember because his dad was my choir teacher, and he was kind of thick, and he showed up one day in some skins, and I was like, hold on, because I know you're not, but. Do I need to question this? Like, because this is...
But nowadays...
Now it's normal. Now I can't have that
What
assumption.
the hell? No,
How did we get here?
I completely understand, and like I just try to see both sides of it. And my thing is, what I try to write is, let's get to the root of it. It's just like, well, why is everything like with black men? Why is everything attributed to our sexuality?
Because I believe that's the first thing that is taken away from you. You know, is your sexuality is tied to your masculinity.
Your masculinity. And
so that's the first thing that has always in history has been the first thing to take away from a black man. You know,
it applies to both.
Yeah, that's
because women had even less autonomy over their bodies.
Exactly. So especially during
so black people in general have that history of your bodies belong to others, and then the hypersexualization once we couldn't own your body anymore as a result.
The Mandingo,
the Jezebel, Bedouin. So,
but yet it's just, I think now we have to, like, between black men and black women, we just have to have those conversations. I have these conversations with my friends all the time, and my sister all the time. It's just like, if a black man operate outside of what you perceive as masculinity, why is he automatically gay?
Automatically.
And there's nothing wrong.
I won't even go to, I give women this part. It's not even automatic, but it's just, it turns into questions.
It's not questionable.
But then we have to start asking, well, then why? What do black women or women, I just speak for me, I'm like, because I'm a black man and I hang around black women, what do y'all perceive as masculinity then? So I think the hip hop era, I think that kind of like plays into it. Like we think, rappers, like, that's the pinnacle of masculinity. You gotta wear chains, you gotta sag, which we don't even know the history behind sagging.
People
and
don't know what the history is.
And my dad had to tell me the history. You're like, you do know what that means, right? Because back in school we used to sag all the time. You do know what that means, right? And once he told me, I never said.
My daddy said the same thing to my brothers when they were in high school. He was like, actually I take it back, it wasn't my daddy, it was my uncle who's actually been to prison. So he was like, so y'all walking around just offering it up, huh?
Yeah.
And they didn't understand what that meant.
Exactly.
And he broke it down for them. But I mean, like, you even to take it further, it goes back to the buck breaking. They used to make black men wear their pants below their asses to show he's broken, and like that's you can do what you want to do. And I'm like, so with all that history, y'all didn't think of none of that, huh? Just started saying.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, people don't really want to talk about
the history,
the root cause of things, and it's just like. It's just something I deal with a lot of times. It's like when I write, like, how do I portray black men on stage? Black women too, because I try to, with black women, I have to be extra careful, and I want to be careful because I do want to show real black women. But like with black male characters, especially in UMOJA, like I have to, like I really wanted to take a step back and say, how can Trayvon be perceived as a black man? Like, but he don't really operate in the spectrum of masculinity, if you will, because he is very like caring of Dolores, who is a black queer character, and he's very tender with them and very like expressional with them. So, and also Hakeem too. Like Hakeem is very, even though he's this macho man and he believes in masculinity, blah blah blah, but it's like there is a softer side to him.
And I think that's one of the things I love personally about, especially that scene, is just seeing black men in a non-stereotypical setting, being authentically themselves, having a real conversation. It is like, you don't get to see that often. You don't get to see black men portrayed outside of the stereotypes that they're normally portrayed in. And so it's a beautiful conversation, and I'm glad that it makes people think, because it's like, you need that, and to get that from a group of black men, just kudos makes me happy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's because, with like the representation of black people on screen and stage too.
We be honest. But I played Cal Purdy once or twice. I know what that looks like.
Not Cal Purdy. It's just, but it's the intentionality behind the writing. Like, we always say, well, black women do this, but black men do that, and it's just like, okay, well, let's put these two on stage and let's have this conversation, and let's see what the audience think about it. It's like, oh, you know what? I didn't think about it that way, but I kind of see where Teron is coming from. I kind of see where Trayvon is coming from. I kind of see where Nikki's coming from. And so it's just like, let's start having this conversation, because then that's when we really gonna get to the root of things. That's what I believe.
And we get into a lot of it though. We get into a lot of it because, and it's one of the things where I think we also struggle is just trying to have the conversation. Having the conversation about anything is just going to improve the situation. And like we were just talking earlier about about how a lot of times we quick to call white people racist. Sometimes white people are just ignorant to the situation.
Very.
And it's because you got to realize is that they're living in a total different world than we live in. So if when they live, they don't see what we see. And so that's why when I was telling them, I said, when I was at this play and I seen the white people over there, I was like, I wonder if they super uncomfortable. I just wonder if they
had that conversation.
We did.
Like, it's a lot of
white people here right now. Are they gonna be okay?
Right.
But I mean, like that's the beauty of it to me, is that when we kind of touched on that in a rehearsal, where we ultimately decided, like, we're not here for the comfort of white people. And we're here to tell a real ass story. And if they want to be here, they have to be willing to accept that some of the truths that are going to be told are going to speak directly towards them. And then having the white women that we have in the cast, which that has been an experience in itself.
Very interesting.
It's so interesting because like we're learning a lot about their perspective and like how they see things, and we're also educating them on things that they had no idea were things, because like you said, they live in a whole different world.
Yep.
And like one of the ladies that I've spoken to, Leah, she's very adamant about like educating herself on all the things she didn't know, because she's said to me like, I grew up learning things differently. And it's not that she's intentionally racist. It's not that I'm out here because I hate black people, so I do this. She just doesn't know me better. And it's just like, oh, this is an opportunity to teach you better. And you're willing to take that information in. And I think that's the hard part for black people is like, it's not that we think all y'all racist. We just know y'all not ready to learn the truth. So
and sometimes with a lot of us too, is it our job?
Is it our job to teach you? And that's
I have to worry about surviving.
Right. I gotta live day to day.
Exactly.
But I told this to one of my homeboys, Ron, that's on the podcast all the time. I was telling him, he said the same thing. It's not my job to teach you.
It's not.
But I said, if it's not your job, then whose is it? I said, well, you can't.
That's where the heart.
It's
like
hard
this.
part.
Because the same thing is like, if you go to school, do you want, do you want the math teacher teaching you science?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But what I mean by that is that you want another white person trying to teach them about black culture?
Here's the thing though. I would say, if you go to school, true, how many of these people are willing to go to school? Because there are people out there willing to teach. How many of y'all really want to learn? That's the balance of it is like, yeah, it's people out there who want to get this information. It's also people out there who like, I don't want to learn it. I mean, critical race theory became a thing literally because white people don't want their kids learning about history.
Yes.
So like,
but
the history,
the real history,
but the real history, and what sucks about that is you don't want to learn about your history.
Exactly.
Because you're taking away your history of what you did. Or your grandparents, or your parents.
Which is so interesting, like this whole conversation. Like I had a spat too with one of my former teachers. I just don't believe in this critical race stuff. Like I don't believe in taking away our history, but you have to look at it from our side of point of view, right? I was a 6'3", 250-pound high schooler in Alabama, in a small town, Alabama. And growing up, like, I don't know if y'all had to read this stuff, like in your English and literature classes. We had to read The Crucible.
Yep,
we had
read
to
it.
read
Diary of Anne Frank.
Diary of Anne Frank. We had to read To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, I read.
We had to read.
I read it down.
All these stuff about white European history and like white slavery from their point of view. Like, but we never got to read stuff from our point of view.
Never read the autobiography of Frederick Douglass.
Which
is so short, every high schooler should read it.
Yeah. We never got to read books written by black authors and featuring black, black characters.
No, I would go another angle too, is that when I was in school, when we did even get taught any form of black history, it was always the same.
Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks.
Damn, y'all learned about Malcolm X?
I'm about to say Malcolm X.
They gave us an excerpt.
No, they went to Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King.
They were like, Malcolm X was in there, but then he died. Moving on. And we were just okay.
And what's his name? What's the one that made the peanut butter?
George Washington Carver. Y'all got peanut butter because of him.
Yeah,
congratulations.
But it's like, but they talk about slavery, but they always talk about like which slavery was gruesome. But like, no, y'all don't talk about like, y'all went over to another country or continent,
right?
Stole people. Brought them over here. Well, we don't talk about the boat ride.
Oh no! Right. Not only brought them over here, but spreading them out. Spread them out. Into
made sure the ones who spoke different languages went to the same plantation because you didn't want them to communicate.
Because the American economy is built literally off of our black ancestors.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't want to talk about that type of stuff, but you want to take away critical race theory. So you want to teach us about the Civil War.
Yeah.
What was the Civil War really about?
slavery.
And it wasn't the way. Yes, it was about slavery, but it wasn't the way we were taught that it was about
slavery.
It wasn't about freeing us.
Yeah.
That was just a throw-in.
Yeah, they were like
that was the byproduct because it was like, well, fuck, we need to win this because we can't just let all the South go because they make a lot of our money. I'll tell you what, if we take their slaves, they can't go nowhere. That's literally how that happened.
Yeah.
If they could have found a way to keep the South and keep slavery, we still be fucking slaves.
Yeah, because they wanted to. It was something about taxing. Mm-hmm. They wanted to add some type of tax, and the South didn't want to pay that. And they like, well, you can't have both. You know what I'm saying? And they like, oh yeah, so we got to take something away.
Because it's like they always say like, you're taking away our American rights, like our God-given rights. You're taking away our freedom of speech, our amendments and stuff like that. Well, like, who built that?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Who died for that?
Who died for that?
Whose blood is literally in the soil in this country? Mm-hmm. So let's really, if you want to talk about Southern heritage, let's get into it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So it's like what you said. Like it's like everybody go to school, but it's like, are you willing to learn?
Yeah, are you trying to learn?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot to that, man. It's a lot. But we I want to switch it up though.
Mm-hmm. All right.
What's y'all plans for this weekend?
Got another show.
Got another show.
Yeah. You got V-Day coming up.
Is it V-Day?
No, that's on Monday. That don't count for the weekend.
How do that count for the weekend?
Because that's on Monday.
And
the 13th is the Super Bowl.
So, but most people's gonna celebrate it this weekend on Saturday.
Are they? Because the Super Bowl is happening.
It is, but most people gonna celebrate it Saturday. Probably do some stuff on Monday, but most of the like going out to eat and all that stuff is gonna happen this weekend.
I ain't doing none of that because
we
close on Saturday, so that's my Saturday. Come see the show.
Okay, come see the show. It'll be a great date night.
So, so what you expecting for Valentine's Day?
Sleep.
No.
That's it.
That's it.
That's
nice long nap. Actually, I think I work both my jobs on Monday, so yeah, sleep. Yeah, no rest for the wicked.
So we ain't got no special LA dude that's gonna come to your house with 200 roses.
I mean, if he finds my address, yeah, that's one thing. But also, you got to get past my parents, so that's a whole other thing. I don't
meet the parents.
Well, I live with my dad and my stepmom right now. Yeah, so LA is expensive. But no, nothing like that. I'm chilling on that day. Quite honestly, no plans. If something happens, I'll be just as surprised as you'll be.
I thought your daddy be. Oh, you trying to come here and take her? Oh man, come on, my brother. Come on, good brother. Come on,
man. Let's have that talk.
He gonna be like,
come on, good brother.
Who is you? First of all, is he wearing his pants the right way? Okay, he can come to the front door.
What's the right way?
He doesn't do the sagging thing. I remember with my boyfriend in high school, the first time he seen him, because he used to wait for me after school so my dad would pick me up. First thing my dad said about him was like, I like that young man. He wears his pants over his ass. I said, yep, that's literally all it took. That simple? Okay.
What about you, Ladarrion?
I'm gonna be working on my book. Because I'm trying to get that book deal.
Hustling, man. We trying to make that money.
We trying to make money.
Get them checks.
Like Valentine's, I'm just like, do people really celebrate Valentine's?
Yeah.
Once you get out of high school, it's like
it's not a thing. Also, it's like I'm not a huge fan of capitalism like that. So like, if you want to do something special with me because like, oh, you like me, you feel. We could do that on a Tuesday. You don't gotta wait for a Valentine's Day. Like, you can hit me. You got some free time? I got you roses. We going to dinner.
Let's go get tacos.
Yes, like tacos.
Let's go get tacos.
You must be the one. You're trying to be the one anyway. If you get me tacos, bruh. So.
Damn, it's come out quick.
Yeah, it did.
I didn't even realize Valentine's Day was Monday.
Yeah.
Monday, y'all said?
Yeah, Monday.
I don't be knowing. It'd be like the days be running together.
They sure do.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Because you live, south of the 10. Mm-hmm. So you in a whole different world than I am out here. Mm-hmm. So a lot of my friends and stuff, they live out this way. Mm-hmm. Most of them are not from LA, but they've been here for a long time.
Right.
Their biggest thing is that they say they rarely get approached by black men out here. Do you feel the same way? Do you feel the same way living south of the 10 in more of the blacker neighborhoods versus how my friends feel out this way?
Kinda, yeah. Like I know what they're talking about, because I mean, especially, and I gotta call it what it is. Being a darker skinned black girl, you're not getting approached by like a lot of black dudes because they either want something light, bright, white, or Latina, and that just is what it is.
I don't get it.
The darker the berry.
I really want to let you know I don't get it.
And I appreciate that, but
that's your experience.
That's my experience.
That's your experience, yeah.
As I've gotten a little older, I've started to see more black men shift and be like, oh. Oddly enough, they're all kind of light skinned, which is funny to me. I don't discriminate, by the way. I have no bias between light and dark skinned black men. Black men are beautiful. But it's just funny to me because I'm like, wow, like, yeah, I've gotten approached probably by more white dudes, Asians, and Latino men than I have black men.
Wow. That is crazy. So let me ask you this, and I really want both of y'all to answer this, though. Because one of my friends, he's a black guy. He's a dark skinned black guy, but since I have known, he only have dated white women.
Okay.
And so it was a question I had said. It was a question I had asked. I said, "Can you be pro black and not date?"
Oh, I love this question. Ooh.
And not date black.
I love this question
because it doesn't.
Go ahead.
Because to me, it doesn't add up. Because you can't say you love this, but then you don't go home and love the same thing. So it don't make sense to me.
Okay, so my opinion of it is, no, you cannot be pro-black and date exclusively everything but black. It's different if like you've dated black and then like you randomly found this white person and like it just sparks flew and like you were like, my life is forever changed. This is the person I'm meant to be with. But for like men like your friend and females like your friend too, because I also know females who are like, I just don't date black men. And I'm like, what is your life about? But you can't, because like you said, you can't love the people but then not do that in your personal life.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't equate the math. It doesn't math. Like if I love black men, why would I not date one? And to me, the only response to that is because as much as you want to claim you love black people, you still hold black females in this stereotypical bubble of attitude, mad black woman, whatever it is that you have attributed to us that makes it okay for you to not date us.
What you say in the play, Toronto, like you want the black
woman attributes on a Becky,
but you don't want an actual black.
And that's the thing, because I had a guy I knew in high school. I don't ever get into Facebook arguments, but this one I was like, no, we're not doing this. And it was a post about Donald Glover, and it was a picture of him and his wife, and it was basically something to the effect of, black men don't date black women because, you know, when we're weird and we like things like anime or whatever, black girls don't be checking for us. And I said, pause, no, because I'm that girl. I'm the nerdy black girl who's into anime and like Star Wars, like video games. I do all that. So, and no black dudes were checking for me in high school, period. So he was like, well, I feel like I tried to talk to you and you didn't respond. And I said, so you're going to take your experience with one black girl not reciprocating your feelings and use that to justify your preference for white women. Just say you prefer white women. Don't use black women as an excuse to justify your preference, because to do that means you know something's wrong with having that preference. So don't use us to justify it. Just stick to your truth. You like white women. End of discussion.
And I think a lot of times too, like dudes like Donald Glover's personality, his type of personality, type of guys, when they are in high school, they look at, and exactly what you said, don't take this small group and apply it to all. Because what happens is they look at who are the considered maybe like popular girls. That's
something my friend had to tell me too. Because I used to say that all the time for me. Because it was, you know, personally, black women wasn't checking for me. Because I didn't like football, I didn't like basketball, I didn't like sports, and I like the arts. Like
we're gonna talk about too.
But
we're gonna finish this first.
But growing up, I've always wanted a black girl. they weren't checking with me. But I'm not gonna. But growing up in my teenage years, and then I say coming of age in my 20s because I believe you come of age.
You're still growing up in your 20s. Yes, you are.
I don't hold that one or that specific group of young black girls back in my hometown for all of black women.
Yeah,
there's got to be sometimes you gotta sit down and evaluate yourself. Like, okay, why am I blaming all black women? Because she likes video games and anime and blah blah blah. I wish I would have had that in high school because I was going for like the
image of what you seen was that was popular at the time,
which is
that was.
God,
well, what everybody else was chasing. Your high school is disgusting. It's trash.
Is it still the same? Our high school still the same.
I feel like they are.
Because
they don't change.
Because I work with a lot of young kids, and just listening to some of the conversations that they be having between each other.
And I'll be like, in 3 years, y'all are not gonna care.
My nephew's like that, so I'll be like, listen, y'all really still go through that?
Oh. Like I was telling one of my friends' nephews, I'm like, dude, like, because he was talking about his friends and like all in and I said, I get it, I understand where you're coming from, but I promise in 2 years, y'all are probably not even gonna talk.
You're not even gonna think about those people.
One of the greatest things I ever heard was, when you get older, if you don't become a hypocrite, you didn't grow.
Yep,
and
that's true.
And that's
oh wow.
And that means and it's basically coming down to the things that you thought about when you were 20. If you still thinking that same stuff when you're 30, 40, it was no growth in your life. Because the same dumb stuff that I thought was cool when I was 18, 19, when I think about it now, why do you do that? Like, I be telling kids, I'm like, don't do that. That's stupid. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, that's high school is a different animal. Man.
Yeah,
it is. Like, especially now, I can't imagine growing up now.
Well, all the technology and social media.
Like,
we barely survived the MySpace days. Okay, I can't do it.
We had the black version called Bebo. Like, we had Bebo.
See, how old are you, Ladarrion?
I'm 29.
See, y'all both I'm 35.
Okay.
So y'all 5-6 years younger than me. So my first introduction to any form of social media was Black Planet.
I remember Black Planet.
That was the first introduction.
It was the first black thing that we had, and we were like, we're gonna make this
up. It was such a big deal in high school that the school ended up locking the internet to where we could not go on the site.
That's how it was for MySpace. Bebo was kind of like the black version of. Oh God, Bebo was actually like kind of like Instagram and Facebook, but for black people.
Okay.
Back in the day.
I never heard that one.
I've never heard of this.
Oh my God.
Feel like I need to Google this?
I want to get my own profile still, like, cause that's what you can
I did that too. I went back to Black Planet and tried to see. I was like, I don't know what email I used, but I tried to go back and say, oh, it probably ain't there. And I mean, then after Black Planet, it was. I want to say it was MySpace.
Yeah.
MySpace, then Facebook.
Because my sister said Facebook was only for college people.
It was when it first started. When it first started, it was meant for just college people to interact.
I mean, because they created it in college. It was literally.
And then they opened it up. Yeah, and then Instagram came and Twitter. I think Twitter was like.
Twitter was before Instagram. I feel like around.
Yeah, Twitter was before Instagram.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Twitter was the one. Facebook blew, and then Twitter blew up too, and then Instagram came.
And then Instagram came.
And then it was Snapchat, and then
Snapchat was big in college for us.
Oh, Snapchat was huge in college for us. We had actually, I don't know if that's appropriate.
Do people still do Snapchat?
They do.
22,
they do.
Some people still do Snapchat.
I feel like Snapchat is like for teenagers now.
I think it is.
Okay,
but also teenagers have TikTok now. So I feel like TikTok is this newer thing, and Snapchat is for the people who want to do TikTok but can't figure that out, so they just stick to Snapchat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was never good at that.
Yeah. But what I want to get on is that my brother, my brother, he's my younger brother. He's 30 this year. He'll be 30 this year. Okay. Or no, he'll be 31 this year.
Okay.
31 this year. But we're 5 years apart, and so. I always was jealous of him growing up because he's just like you. My brother is 6'7", 2-something.
Oh my God!
And hates sports.
How dare you do this?
How dare you?
I'm you know what I'm saying, I played all sports growing up. Love sports to this day. I'm a huge sports fan.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'8".
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm 5'8". You know what I'm saying? And so I love sport. I play sports and everything. I was always jealous of you big cats that talking about I don't like sports. Man, can we switch it so I can go make this $100 million contract?
Yeah. It's growing up in Alabama, because I grew up in like Roll Tide Roll, what was it, Auburn Tigers or whatever it is now. So it was interesting because I used to play football and I used to play basketball. I actually got on like the varsity team in my 9th grade year. But when I saw it, man, all that goddamn running, I was like, man, fuck this shit.
I'm out.
Right. I literally was like, yeah, I'm out. Like, because I quit literally in mid-practice. I was like, yeah, I'm good.
You want me to run how many laps?
Right?
No, we're not doing that.
You know, our gym didn't look big. Like, when you walk in, you're like, oh, this gym ain't that big. But when you got to
run that shit.
That gym looked like it just grew. And I was like, nah, sports just wasn't. I just love the movies. I love books and art and theater. And I don't know. I was the tallest person in choir. I was the tallest person in theater. Like, I just love the arts more than sports. Because, again, I didn't grow up in a household where sports was like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
See, I didn't either. But
so it's different for different.
Yeah, I didn't like my grandparents like this. My grandparents watched sports. They baseball, basketball. They watched everything. My uncles and them, they casually, watch sports. It was like if it was Thanksgiving or they at the house and nothing else to do, they'd watch it. But it was nobody like how I am. That if you go into my room, they got Kobe posters up. You see, when you come to the door, you can see a Vikings map. You ain't gonna see none of that in my family. You know what I'm saying? I'm like on that. Now, when I was like 15 and I got introduced, because my father passed when I was 7. So when I was 15, I got introduced to who now I call my Uncle Fred. And he had a nephew named Princeton, who's my best friend to this day. They got introduced into my life through church. And so they were huge sports fans. So once I got into my teenage years, I finally had somebody in my life that I could gravitate to that understood my fandom, and so that helped, that group. But in my own family, nah. So it was like I couldn't tell you where it came from, but I just adapted to sports at an early age. But my brother, like I said, he might sit down and watch a game for about 5-10 minutes. That's it. But he won't. But he won't even. You know what I'm saying?
I can't even make it 5 minutes.
But I won't. And when I mean watch it, I mean he's just sitting there and like on his phone.
Yeah, that's
what
might glance at.
I'm like,
I'm
like, yeah, we got another 2-3 hours of this game.
How long I've been playing?
Right.
But there's always, I always used to be jealous. Like, man, how do you get all this? And then it's so great. He's the tallest person in our family. Yeah. Like, we don't even know where it came from. You know what I'm saying? Because the next tallest person maybe is my uncle, who's like 6'1", 6'2". And after that, it just shrinks after that. And so it's like, we don't know where it came from. And I'm like, man, why I couldn't get all that?
Yeah. But no, that's how it was for me. Like, sports, like, everybody was like watching sports around me. I'd be like, really? Can we go to the movies? Like, but I feel like my mom don't even know, like, she made me an artist without even her knowing, because I remember we had like VHSs. Y'all remember like the VHS? Like, she would have like literally like stacks. Like, we used to watch like black movies, of course, like all the, the 90s classics, but also she would watch like, we had movies like My Best Friend's Wedding with like, Cameron Diaz, and like we would watch stuff like literally all that type of stuff, and like I was introduced to a lot of films that I probably shouldn't have been watching.
No, me too. We're on that same page.
But like I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to do that. The sports just didn't stimulate me the same as movies did.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just grew up. I was just like, I don't like that. Like, playing video games, I really didn't like playing the sport games. Like, it just didn't.
Because they're boring.
It's just
Sorry,
boring.
they're boring.
Whatever.
Like, I like the games with storylines and like
Madden 2K.
My brother would love you. He plays Madden. That's all he plays.
But I say this: when I was a kid, I was into a couple more different games. But as an adult, Madden 2K is my 2 main ones. But I also love my Pokemon. I do got my Nintendo Switch in there. And you know what I'm saying, I do play that from I've been playing it a little bit more because I just got the Nintendo Switch about a month ago.
I want to get one so bad.
I was like, are they still making
They are.
I actually got lucky because one of my co-workers, he ended up buying a new one from somebody.
Okay.
And was like, hey, do you want to buy it? I'll sell it to you for retail. And I was like, oh, I bet.
That's beautiful.
And so I got it for retail, and I've been playing it.
I'm trying to wait for a sale or something, but they are coming out with new games because they just came out with like this like Mario soccer kind of game, and I was like, damn, I gotta get a Switch.
The last game I played was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. That was the last video.
Baby, you know, it was a whole nother one.
Right. That was because I just wasn't into because one, my mom couldn't really afford games and stuff like that. So and every time I would get the game, it would be like another year, after 6 months or a year. And I was just like, if this is what I gotta do, fuck this. I'd rather go to the movies. I'd rather get like books. Yeah, video games.
And see, my family was big on books, and it's weird because when in Hesperia where I grew up, like there were no black people in theater. It was me and one other person. There were literally no black guys doing it whatsoever. They were all playing football. And then when I got to Westchester, I was like, perfect. I'm gonna see black. Never mind, I'm not going to see black guys in the theater. I'm not going to see any of that. And it wasn't until college that I was like, oh wait, they're like 5 of us, guys. Yeah, 3 of y'all are men. Come through. Like, yes.
Yeah.
But it took a while. So like, I had that same experience of like, there are no black men who do theater. I'm like, my mom used to say this, which sounds horrible now, but like, you're probably going to end up with a white guy because we didn't know black men who did theater. And she knew I loved acting.
You didn't watch movies?
No, we did. But like, again, I lived in Hesperia in like a small town that a lot of people don't get out of. So it was like, well, if you stay in this bubble, that's probably what you're going to be into. And I was like, oh, we going to get the fuck out this bubble then. Because I feel like there's better out there for me.
What's so funny, because we about to get ready to wrap up, but before we get out of here, before I moved here and start understanding the different cultures and everything, the way the city moves, an outsider not from here just associates everything that's Southern California with LA. Yeah. So like how you were saying where you're from, if you would have told me that 4 years ago, I would have been like, oh, you're from LA. You know what I'm saying?
But
you're from LA.
Even when I first moved down here, I used to work at Universal Studios, the theme park, and like I'd be like, people were like, where you live at? I'd be like, oh, I live in North Hollywood. They're like, oh, okay, you live in NoHo. I'm like, sure. And then I'm like, oh, okay, where you live at? Oh, I live in LA. Well, we all live in LA. But no,
tells me nothing.
I didn't know that was
a thing. Yeah, like
LA proper is different from Inglewood, different from Manhattan Beach, different from Culver City, Hollywood. Yeah, I didn't know that either moving to LA. I also assumed this is all just LA. But when we started figuring out what school I was going to go to, I was like, oh, this Westchester.
But I guess because we kind of do that at home. We do counties, like so. You in Jefferson County or you in Shelby County. So we don't do like
See, where I'm from in Detroit, it's the city, the other suburbs. But how the city is broken up is east and west. That's it. You're either east side or you west side. And it's so crazy because you will hear a lot of jokes about it, but literally it's some type of, how can I put it? I won't say tension, but they try to make one side seem worse than the other. And west side people always feel like they're better than east side people, which is so crazy to me because I grew up there and I'm like, well, you don't know about this back street, this neighborhood, y'all forget all. And the west side people east be like, oh no, we ain't talking about them. Yeah, we isn't talking about them.
They're on the
west side and it's east side. Because I grew up east side, so I always have to defend my side, the people, you know what I'm saying? Well, yeah. But before we out here, what you got coming up? After
this show, I got another audition coming up for another play, so wish me luck on that. But really just out here still grinding, trying to get an agent, trying to keep doing great things in the world. So yeah, that's what I got going on. 2022. Success in 2022. That's what we got going on.
So we're gonna plug the play. Go ahead, tell them about it.
Yes, UMOJA at the Inglewood Playhouse, Willie A.G. Playhouse in Inglewood. We close February 12th. Get your tickets at umojainc.org. If you want us to come to your city and come out and see it, you want us to come to your city, please let us know so we can travel and bring the story out. I'd be on the lookout for my book, Blood at the Root. And watch the short film on YouTube. And then, I'm just working on different plays that's going to be premiering over the years. So.
Like, let me ask this one before we go. When you write, what's your writing process? Is this something? Can you just sit and just write straight through? Or what's your process when you write?
So, okay, so for me, if an idea is bothering me, because I get like many ideas. Like, I'm like, I think that would be a great idea.
I know.
People be like, can you write about this? Like, my sister sent me stuff like, can you write about this? But it has to like, if that shit literally like bothers me, like, especially when I'm driving or if I'm like asleep and I'm like, this shit will not leave me alone, I have to write it. That means I have to write it. Like, one time I was doing Uber and like an idea just kept bothering me. I literally had to pull over and get out my computer and start typing. And next thing I know, I had like 20 pages. So yeah, I just sit down and like I just let the characters talk and like, okay, what do you want to say? And then I just try to do like a vomit draft. Y'all will never see it. Y'all will never see my vomit drafts unless I love you. But
okay, so we gonna work on this love.
Yeah,
I want to see this.
No, but yeah, I'll do like a vomit draft and then just keep working at it. I'm a drafter. For people that don't know, I have to do like literally like 10, 12, 13, 20. I think the most drafts I've done like 30 drafts of a play. And it's still not done. Like I'm probably gonna end up doing 30 more. So yeah, that's like kind of like my process, if you want to call it that. Yeah, sometimes I outline, sometimes I don't. I just sit down and I just get it out. Like, turn off the self-critic. It's gonna be shitty. That's okay. You can always go back and edit it because you can't edit a blank page. So
yeah, I'm more like the Tyler Perry type. We gonna get this shit done and get it over with.
Write it in 2 days and film it.
And then we're done. Not thinking about it again.
Not developing it.
Let's go.
Yeah, because UMOJA itself, I've been developing this play since 2016. So you have to, for me, for playwriting, it takes years and years for it to get done. So,
which is funny because that's like, to me, the acting world is like, you're never done developing a character.
Yeah,
you're only just like, okay, I have to stop because this project is done and I got to move on. But at the end of the day, you never stop.
After UMOJA closes, I'm gonna take maybe 3 months off from it, away from it, and get back in it, and then do some more rewrites. It's never done.
Yeah. So let me say, I don't know. Do you know Cornette? Does she know? Do you know?
I met Cornette because I was she was the original Taronda, and I was her understudy, and then she doing amazing things.
She booked something in New York.
And that's how I met Taronda.
So
coming into, I'm be honest with you, coming into the play, and I was and not knowing that, first I got asked when I got told like, we're going to visit this. I didn't know it was the same play that I had seen already.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm going to it. Then when it first started, I said, I've seen this. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's what they tell you.
Yeah, she asked, I've seen this. And I was like, oh, okay. And then when you came out, I said, Cornette, it was like, okay, let me see. Cornette killed it to me. She killed it.
She's amazing.
So I was like, so you had to really impress me. I was like, I said, let me see. Okay.
She had to do a double. Like, she had to do Taronda and Mickey.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're doing.
I only
but so she had to do it one night, which was because she had to take over the role because actors. And,
yeah, right.
But no, like she learned the whole play, like 2 parts, and I don't
that was
know,
like
a week.
Yeah, that was like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So yeah.
From the time I got the Nikki part to the time I performed, it was 3 weeks.
It was 3 weeks, yeah. But so that's theater.
Yeah.
I was like, and after I said, oh, she killed that shit.
She came in strong.
I'm glad I could do it justice because when I saw Cornette the first rehearsal, I said, oh, I have to. Y'all want me to step up to this?
Yeah, we just bring
Woo!
But you brought your own.
And that was all I could do was just make it
her.
my own. Don't think about what she's doing because she's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So just focus on what you can do, and hopefully it works.
Yeah.
So thank you. I'm glad that I impressed you.
All right. Well, so what's your social media?
You can find me at JuJuBschwifty on Instagram.
I was wondering what that word was.
I love Rick and Morty.
Okay. I'm on Twitter, Instagram at ItsLadarrion. I talk a lot of shit on Twitter, so don't judge me.
So just go to Instagram.
Yeah, just go to Instagram for my inspiration.
All right, y'all know it's BrandanJordanComedy, and like I told y'all before, I am working on the web series and a couple other things, and more stand up is coming your way because I was just in San Diego, had a great time. Again, thank you for everybody that came out. Some more dates are coming up, and that's another episode. So I'll holler at y'all later. Peace out.